Hey Mountain Beachers, it's a beautiful spring day, and do you know what that means?
It means it's camping season.
Yes, it's camping season and time to go through the pre-season RV checklist. So first thing we're going to do is we're headed up on the roof. So the first thing we want to do is we want to check all the seals around the edges and around all the vents. Look for cracking, small holes, anywhere where water can penetrate. So we want to check that. I've got my Dicor and a rag clean up and Dicor to seal any cracks or holes we find. So that's the step we're taking now. So now I'm going to go around the vent and check the vent, and just going to kind of clean off the vent itself, and then I'm going to check the Dicor all around the vent and make sure it's looking good, and if there's any spot that needs touch up there as well. All around the antenna. Again, any place that water can penetrate. While you're up on the roof, it's also a great time to take a look at your slides. Pull the slide out and look at the Dicor spots that are on that slide top and see how they look. You'd need to access those from a ladder to fix, but it's a good spot to do a visual from up on the roof. Ours looks pretty good, so I don't think there's any touch-up that I need to do. So next on the checklist is checking the slide out seal. It's this black rubber seal that runs along the edge here. Keeps moisture out, bugs out, and air out. And we need to check for cracks, make sure it's still in good condition, make sure it's pliable. And then we're going to put on this conditioner so that we can keep it in good condition. So now all I'm doing is I'm lightly wiping it off. Actually, I'm not really even wiping it off. I'm just getting the excess off and kind of working the sealant into the rubber itself. Just gives extra life to the rubber. Protects it. And don't forget to do the seal out here as well. That's a common mistake. Again, just very lightly. And that's all there is to it. You finish the rest of it and it's good to go. Gives it extra life. So next on our checklist is lubricating the stairway. Just makes it easier to put in and out. And for that, we use this WD-40 dirt and dust resistant dry lube. You want to make sure you get the dry lube. The wet WD-40 is just going to attract dirt and accumulate dirt. That's all there is to it. Easy peasy. So here we are underneath the slide out. We need to check the underneath, make sure all of that is looking good and in good conditions. There's no tears in the underlayment. Ours is, for the most part, not too bad. But we're also going to check the slide out mechanisms, the slide out bar, and then the track itself. We're going to wipe those down, get any dirt and debris off of them. And then I'm going to use the same WD-40 dry lube underneath here. You don't want to use the wet lube. And then spray a little bit of this dry lube. And again, we just want a light coating on there. And we do it to both sides. Just make sure everything is solid. All bolts are holding together and in good shape. Take a look in at the sprocket. Just do visual check of everything. That way if you see a problem, you can identify it and get it repaired. And that's what we do for the slide out. Okay, while we're underneath this particular slide out, we're going to check the tires. And the things that I like to do when checking the tires, I like to check the sidewall and make sure there's no cracks or bubbles that have formed. Those can form just from age and weather. These look like they're in good condition. The next thing that I want to do is I want to give a good visual of the tread for both tread depth and for looking for any wear patterns that there might be. Those would be indicators that there's a problem, alignment or balance, or just a bad tire. So make sure you don't forget to check the sidewall of the inside of the tires as well, because they can have those same problems. Give them a good look over, rub your hand over them, make sure you don't feel any bubbles. Do this to all tires on your rig. We have 4. These look good, tread looks good. These tires are good for another season. So another thing you want to do on your when checking your tires is you want to check the tire pressure. This is something you want to do before each and every trip, but right now in the spring is a great time. Your tires probably lost a pound or 2, so let's get them checked and see where they're at. If you're looking for a portable air compressor, then Viair makes one of the best in the industry. They're not cheap, but they are a great product. Okay, so it's the next day and we are back up on the roof. As we finished off yesterday, we got a hose with the spray nozzle, came up here on the roof, hosed it all down, got a damp mop and scrubbed it a bit just to get the grime, the dust that's been accumulating all winter long off the roof. And today our project is to spray a UV protectant on top of the roof just to keep it safe from the sun's rays. So let's get started. Okay, one piece of advice, don't buy a mop from the dollar store. it lasted not very long. So I'm just using microfiber cloth and just wiping it on. Okay, so now the next thing I like to do on my checklist outdoors is to hook up the trailer to the tow vehicle with just the power, so that I can now test the running lights, the brake lights, turn signals, make sure all of those are in working order. Safety first. And then I'll go down the side of the trailer and all the way around, and I'll check all of the running lights. Hard to tell, but that one is on. Come around here and we'll see that this one is on. I turn the flashers on so we can see what's going on back here. And you can see that those are working. Look up high, and again in the daylight it's hard to tell, but all of those are working. Yep, it's on. And then the last one, yep, it's on. Those are all good to go. So as you can tell, we don't have a new RV. Ours is a 2006 Cougar, but this kind of preventative maintenance will allow you to get extra life out of your RV and use it year after year with fewer problems. Okay, now we're inside the trailer, and there's a few things that we want to check annually inside here. The first one that we're going to do is kind of a dirty job. We got to check the toilet seal, and we put a little bit of silicone grease on, and that'll help the seal, the rubber, to stay pliable and keep the seal good. You want to make sure that you don't use a petroleum-based product, because that will ruin the rubber. So you can find this, it's inexpensive. You can find this at pretty much any hardware store. It's plumber's grease, or this one's called silicone grease. So it's a dirty job, so I'm getting my black glove on. Let's go. Okay, one thing that you first want to check on your toilet is you want to make sure that there's about an inch of water down in the bottom of it. If there's not any water, that's a good indication that the seal is possibly going bad, or at least needs some lubricant. So let's take a look at ours and see where we're at. So we're looking good. We have an inch or two of water down in the bottom. This has been sitting there for a while, so I think our seal is good. But we're still going to put our lube on there and make sure it's even better. Okay, so we got some lube, and we are going to need to turn the water off first, because we don't want the water running while we're doing that. So we're going to flush the water out. And then we're going to go all the way around, and we're just going to put some lube on that rubber seal. It's a water base. And now you know why you wear gloves. So now the next thing that we are going to take a look at is all our water lines and our drains in the kitchen sink and in the bathroom. Want to make sure we don't have any leaks. We've previously de-winterized our trailer. We have water in it. So we're going to turn things on, make sure no water is dripping. And especially on those drain lines, we want to check those, because those can sometimes work themselves loose. So let's take a look. Okay, I am going to run my hand over all the pipes, make sure no water is coming out of either the hot or the cold source lines or the drain line. So let's check those. My hand is dry, so we are good here in the kitchen. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing now here in the bathroom and check the lavatory sink. And again, no water anywhere, so happy as can be. Okay, the next thing on my list, we have one sliding window, and if you have sliding windows in your rig, then you'll want to go and wipe out any dirt out of the track, and then you can also spray this dry lube in the track as well, and it'll just help lubricate it and allow it to slide easier. So let's take care of that one right now. Alright, so there's a few other things that I still like to do on my checklist that I'm not going to take care of right now. One of them is to change the oil in my generator. The second one is to replace my water filter so that when I'm connected to campsite water, it's filtered. I put a new one on every year, but I've run out, so I need to go buy one of those. The other thing that you should always do is test all of your appliances. Test your stove. Test your refrigerator, both in electric and in propane mode. Test your furnace. And if you have air conditioner, test your air conditioner. Test your microwave. Test everything inside of your RV. Make sure it's all working. Test all your lights. Those are simple things. If you follow everything on this checklist, and I'm sure there's other things that probably on your checklist as well, it's going to take you a better part of a day to complete, but enjoy, get your rig ready for camping season. We're excited to be heading out in another less than 2 weeks now. So that's going to wrap things up for today. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you'll be notified when we release our next video, and we'll see you camping. Hey Mountain Beachers, it's a beautiful spring day here in northern Utah. Take two. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing. How are our voices? Do I sound horrible or do I sound sexy and gravelly?
You're always sexy. I couldn't remember what I was supposed to say.
Let's see what it looks like.